Hi, everyone. I'm Jody Schwan, the publisher of Sioux Falls Business. Welcome to another edition of Talent Thursday. We've got another great conversation coming up for you today. So I'm going to get right to it and introduce Denise Gazzetta from our partners over at the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. And it is less than 2 weeks away from that big event over her shoulder. So before we go any further, Denise, those registrations are adding up for the Women Workforce Summit, right?
Oh, they certainly are. We are close to 500, and we have another 100 students that are going to be joining us. So we're right around 600, which is perfect. It's perfect to have this kind of event and really showcase all of the wonderful things we have to talk about in workforce inside the Sioux Falls arena.
So the message here, though, everybody, is you can still register. You can still get your ticket. The virtual attendance is unlimited, so you can always do that. But I would encourage you to be there in person. There's really no replacement for that. And today's guest is going to be there in person because she's part of the program. Would you like to introduce our guest?
Absolutely. So I'd love to introduce our guest. It's Anna Moe. Anna Moe is from New York Life. Just wonderful, wonderful story. Somebody that went to school here twice, right? Got her undergraduate degree and master's degree. Also has a pretty interesting side hustle, which is something we're going to talk about today, but somebody that's just rocking, the young professional life here inside of Sioux Falls.
Anna, it's so nice to meet you. Thanks for talking with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So tell me the backstory a little bit. Are you South Dakotan by birth? Did you grow up around here, or how did you end up in Sioux Falls?
So I am a born and raised Minnesota girl.
Okay.
I actually came from Owatonna, Minnesota, which is like an hour south of the Twin Cities for people's reference.
Yep.
There's a big Cabela's there. That's what normally people are all jazzed about. But come from there and then came over here to Augustana for my undergrad. I graduated with my undergrad and then pursued my master's at USF. Graduated with that and kind of fell in love with the city of Sioux Falls and kind of stuck around ever since, basically. So now I'm hanging out and loving the community, and they can't seem to get me away, it seems like.
Well, I love it. Did you know much about Sioux Falls before college? What brought you here?
So I didn't know a ton. Owatonna is a smaller community in Minnesota. We had actually quite a few folks from Owatonna who were going to Augustana University. So that's kind of was my initial interest in Augustana. And then coming to Sioux Falls, I really found Sioux Falls to be like a small community within a larger community in a way. And, it's one of those things where almost everybody knows everybody, it seems like, but it's still a larger community. So I really fell in love with that aspect and having kind of that home away from home feeling. And then, being 3 hours away from my parents wasn't too shabby either. It was like the perfect distance to be, versus not too far, but not too close either,
You just, we've talked about this, Denise, but you just can't underestimate the importance of our friends at Augustana and USF for bringing people like Anna here for college and giving her that exposure to our community. And then it's up to us in the business community to keep finding great ways for her to plug in.
Right. And to keep her.
Right.
Right. Long term, because that's one of the things. Yeah. Students come here. I mean, we have another Minnesota girl that came and she was an intern in our office and now she's full time and she's doing wonderful things for us on social media. And so we just can't, appreciate the talent that comes out of Augustana University and the University of Sioux Falls. Just really great universities and great talent that we see in our community. That really is one of the attractive things, is because we have a lot of very interesting young people, but just, it's a great feeder into a wonderful culture here. So.
As Denise mentioned, Anna represents New York Life. And Anna, I often say this, few people go to college thinking they're going to get into insurance. Sometimes by the end of college, they've decided this, but often maybe they've had another job first and then they do. But what was your path into your industry?
Yeah, so I have actually a very interesting kind of story into mine. So when I was going to Augustana, it was my junior year finals week. I actually had gone home right before finals week was going to come back and got the message that my dad had actually passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. So something that was obviously life-changing for me at the time, but also really kind of changed my whole direction in the world and in some ways. So what really came of that was my dad had some life insurance through New York Life, it happens to be, and really allowed, I have myself and I also have a twin brother. We were both looking to finish our senior year of college, both of us being first generation college students. So it was something for us that it probably wouldn't have been feasible, to be completely honest, for me to finish my degree and nonetheless pursue a further degree without that help financially, just because obviously it isn't a big emotional issue as well. So that was huge for me. And, I went to go pursue my master's, and then this kind of event and this organization came up, and it was something that I obviously have a passion for, because I feel like it's directly affected my life. And so that kind of is what brought me into the insurance field. And, I'm always joking too, because obviously I recruit for this industry. I always tell people, I never grew up thinking someday I'm going to work for New York Life. But here I am, and I love it. And I tell people that often when they're coming into the career and coming on with New York Life as well.
Wow, that's great. That's such a powerful story. And
It is. Absolutely.
good for you. But Denise, that's just so reflective. Everybody's got their own why, but purpose. We talk about this a lot with talent, right? That talent wants a purpose. And I feel like she's reflected that so well.
Absolutely. And such an important thing. A lot of people don't ever, you're never ready for something like that. But fortunately, you had people in your life that were kind of looking out, and that's amazing. You have a twin brother, and both of you were able to finish. So what is your twin brother? Is he in Sioux Falls too, or?
No, so he's back home in Minnesota. So I know I'm working on him. I'm working on the Sioux Falls guy coming back here. So
guarantee you there's an opportunity, and I don't even know what he does, but we
exactly.
It's true.
Yeah. How, you work in the recruiting field too, and these, we have these conversations all the time. How is that going for you? And are there some best practices and some strategies that you have found that seem to really resonate with people?
Absolutely. So something for me with recruiting, I think, sometimes people can kind of see it similar to sales, right? Like you're selling something to somebody, you're selling this job to somebody. For me, I don't take that approach. I take an approach of more of let's find a best fit. I always tell my candidates, hey, I want us to be just, as great of a fit as you are for our organization. Because ultimately that's going to be the biggest, win-win, is having people come in that really fit our culture and fit our values and really reflect that vision coming into that organization. And we can obviously help sculpt them and train them and give them that knowledge that they need. But ultimately for me, when I'm recruiting, I'm really looking for somebody who matches that vision, those values, those things that I can't teach. And I think that's the biggest aspect, and something that I've had to learn, obviously, from very early on in my career, to attract the absolute best talent that we can also, retain ultimately.
Right. It's one thing to get them hired. It's a whole other thing to have them grow within your organization.
And to be connected to the organization and make sure that connection, there's a lot of personal stories, right? And reasons why. And so I love that. That's just a excellent philosophy and really one of the best practices ever. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there are multiple things that attract and keep people in communities too. And I think you've hit on education, you've hit on finding that job. And then as Denise said, you've got a side hustle. And I think people want to know that not only am I going to have my job, but if I change my mind or if I want to do something on the side or join the gig economy, I'm going to be able to do that here too. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I work for New York Life, and then I also work for Serendipitous Events here in town. So it kind of actually sprung from New York Life, because I started out recruiting for New York Life, and then found a passion for planning all of our events here at the office. We like to do things big and celebrate in big ways. So once that kind of happened and I really found that passion, Serendipitous, I kind of reached out to, and we started working together, and now I do wedding and event planning with them. So that's super exciting. We are in peak wedding season right now, so it's a little crazy, to be honest. I have my third wedding in 3 weeks tomorrow. Today's Thursday, on Saturday. So that'll be exciting. And, it's a great opportunity to meet even more people, to get more involved in the community. I meet a lot of my couples and a lot of the folks that I actually event plan either through New York Life or, through networking events or things like that oftentimes. So it's a great little add-on and kind of the perfect combo for me personally, just being a girl who loves to get into the community and also has a passion to plan those events.
Something completely different to do too. This is from your work life day to day. So
Absolutely.
now, as Denise said, you're part of the panel. So you're actually moderating a panel. So I want to make sure we get to that here. We can obviously, I could chat with you for much longer. You've got a really interesting story, but tell me about your panel.
Yeah, so we are chatting on culture at the panel. So excited for that. Going to hear from a few great individuals within the community. That's going to be something that, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation from each of those, and then also a moderated Q&A just to talk a little bit more and dive deeper into, hey, what does your culture look like? What is, the absolute best ways that you practice that? And what does that maybe look like for different employees or different people in your organization as well? So that's really what that is going to cover. I'm excited. I think it's going to be something that, frankly, I think culture can sometimes be considered a buzzword, but absolutely not, in my opinion. I think it's something that, especially with the younger professionals that are coming into the organizations, it's something huge for them and something that's an important topic to cover.
And in today's world, it is so, the buzz around it is everybody used to use it. Now with social media and with digital media and really people coming in and wanting to be their authentic selves, culture is really something. And you think about that, and you think about that there's reasons why people take many different jobs, and they lend their talents just like you. But you chose because there was a cultural match, as well as you had a personal connection to both of the organizations that you're part of now. So it's so important. It's so important.
And Denise, I feel like it's a great sort of capstone to win. I mean, when we talk about there's different paths. So if you go to the summit, you're going to see this around talent development, attraction, and retention, and best practices. And culture really fits so much of this. And the way she titled it on the agenda is something like culture, culture, culture. If you don't have that, nothing else matters, which is true at the end of the day. What it takes to put all of those things you learn at WIN into action.
It absolutely does. And sometimes people, it's almost, it's they think it's going to have to be something really big, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about Bill Allen, one of the panels, and also Terry Schmidt. It's really simple. It comes down to really listening and engaging your people, and really being just there and understanding that talent today, different than in the past, but talent today collectively, you have 4 generations that are working side by side, and you really want to have where everybody is represented and everybody has a voice, and really have that good connection. People stay at jobs because they like their coworkers. They stay at jobs because they like their managers. They stay at jobs because they have great leaders and they feel like there's an investment in their own personal and professional growth. So there's so many good things, and you will walk away from this session or any of the sessions with one thing that you can put in practice, something that's simple, but something that's absolutely doable and very achievable. So.
Okay, so if they're convinced they need to sign on, they want to meet Anna, they want to hear all this great information, how do they sign up for WIN?
So they can do a simple search on Google, wininworkforce.com. Okay, that's going to take you to our Eventbrite page. Or you can just go right onto Eventbrite and you can go wininworkforce2002.com and you can sign up there. So very, very easy. Or a third option, because we like options. This is the world we live in. You can go to the Sioux Falls Development Foundation website. You can tog on to Talent and Workforce and you can look for WIN Summits and you can get the registration link directly from that page as well.
I just realized I think I need to sign up too, right? Go figure. Right?
We have you signed up because you're so not only do you get Anna at this conference, you also get Jody.
Right. I'll be moderating one of the panels too. So I'm excited. Anna, you did a great job pitching for your employer, but if people would like to learn more about New York Life, how can they connect with you and where should they go?
Absolutely. So they can do same thing. We have options. Just look up New York Life Great Plains on Google and you can come directly to our website. There is a section there that you can click for talent. If you're looking to just learn more about us, or if you're looking to apply, you can absolutely do so there, or they can reach out directly to myself, amoe@newyorklife.com.
Excellent. Well, it was so nice talking to you. I will look forward to your discussion at WIN and just seeing what you do in business and in our community, because you are just getting started. So
I know. I look forward to everything that's going to come in her career.
Oh my goodness.
I'm excited for her. So
she graduated Augustana in 2019 and she got her MBA in 2020. She's totally just started.
She's yeah. Now we just have to get the twin brother here.
That's we can do anything.
We can get anything. I love it. Thank you both so much.
Guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.